Hello, everyone. I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. So we have Sean McCarthy, Director of Brand and Content at Lucky Orange, which is a leading conversion rate optimization toolkit used by over 450,000 websites worldwide. So in his role, Sam helps marketers, designers, and technical teams transition from learning about CROs to taking real-world action. So Sean, I will pass it over to you to take the stage.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me get this pulled up here and we will get going. Okay, so today I'm really excited to chat about this topic of globalization and international growth. I think that it's a really challenging and exciting topic for a lot of teams, especially as they grow. And it puts the website, which is kind of where we come from at Lucky Orange, and I'll explain that role here in a little bit. But we come to this conversation from the standpoint of the website going global and your website audience. And so what I want to present today in this 15-minute session is just a way to think about your website visitors in a way that will hopefully help you make more informed, confident website optimization decisions beyond the basics of quantitative reporting. So let's just take a look. So international expansion obviously means new traffic segments. It means that you are welcoming more people from more parts of the world to your website. You're paying good money with your budgets to get them to your website. You are pushing them through to everything that you want to show them on your website. So this is a really exciting opportunity. What this new audience brings with them is their own unique perspective. They bring their motivations, they bring their worries, and their expectations about your website's usability. So let's unpack those three things. Motivations with a website audience will be the things that they look at you to help them solve. They will say, this product or this service is going to improve my life in one way or another. And it might be a massive thing if it says, I think that this can help me rework my diet. I think that this will be something that I can wear to this wedding or whatever the product might serve. They're motivated to solve a problem, and you might be able to help them solve that. People from new audiences and new parts of the world will bring potentially specific motivations with them. They will also bring, similarly on the flip side, worries. They worry about things from buying from your brand or buying your product. And depending on how big of a brand you are, if you're a household name, it's a different situation than if you're just carving out a niche for yourself. People will worry about the product quality. They'll worry about shipping deadlines or timelines. They'll worry about shipping costs. They will worry about social proof and reviews and whether or not they should trust your brand. And then third, and we'll dive into all these here throughout the presentation, but third is usability expectations. And really what this is that people show up in your website and they expect it to work in a certain way. They expect the navigation to be just like everything else that they've navigated throughout the day on their phone. They expect your site search to perform in a certain way. And so as we expand into new markets, people bring with them expectations that mirror their day-to-day life and motivations and worries. And what we see is that people around the world bring with them unique perspective on these things. And I'm here to tell you today that we lean a lot in business on quantitative reporting. We look at charts, graphs, we find trends, and ultimately we say, I think that this trend is being caused by this. But with behavioral analytics, the goal is to stop saying, I think, and start saying, okay, I see exact evidence of this happening. That's causing this metric to go in this direction. And so the goal today is to walk through two things. One is I want to help you understand how you can make sure that your website is usable for these new markets. And we'll talk about the different factors that go into usability. And then number two is giving you the perspective to study how people are behaving differently from these different audience segments, from these different parts of the world. We'll give you some tools and some ideas there. So the first part of this is looking into usability. Now, usability, as I mentioned, is really just, can people find what they're looking for on your site? If this part's not taken care of, nothing else really matters. If they can't use your site, nothing else really matters. And of course, we want to study this for our audience as a whole, but specifically for new markets coming in on their devices, on their different browsers, coming in from wherever they're coming in. We want to make sure that the website is usable. So at a really, really high level, these two tools, these happen to be Lucky Orange screenshots. We offer these tools, but there's a wide variety of things that you can use out there. what we're looking at here in the background on the left side is a website heat map. What this shows is where people on the website are clicking, scrolling, what they're engaging with on the website. It represents the average visitor behavior on that website, on that web page rather. It shows how far down they scroll, everything like that. Now, how we can apply this to usability is to say, okay, well, we've built this navigation in a way where we believe that people should be clicking on this, or we want them to use this drop-down menu to access this collections page. What we can do is look at a heat map and say, are they clicking there? We might look at our quantitative analytics and quantitative reporting and say, people aren't reaching this page. Well, what's going on? Oftentimes what we'll see in a situation like that is that there's something on the page that's attracting them away from what you actually want them to be clicking on. So heat maps are a good place to start. Session recordings, which is the screenshot on the right in the foreground, this is a complete playback of what people are doing on your website. So in this example, we're looking at somebody navigating a clothing website, and we can see on the right-hand panel all the behavior that they're doing on that page. So they're clicking on things. In this case, we see, if you can see it there, it says rage clicked. This might indicate that they're clicking on something that's not linked to anything. That might not be usable. Again, we can apply this to our entire audience, but what we're really looking to do with international expansion and globalization is find the exact visitors who are coming in from these new channels, from these new markets. And that's where segmentation comes in. And I'm a firm believer that when it comes to website optimization, segmentation is the key. It's the thing that unlocks everything else in your ability to find unique insights. And so what we're looking at here is just a couple of screenshots inside Lucky Orange, but really with any tool like this, with a new effort, what you're going to want to do is study visitors based on maybe a UTM parameter or specifically just based on a country. And you'll want to watch them come in through your website and study those session recordings and study heat maps filtered by the people who are coming from these new areas. One thing that we see a lot is that people will use UTM parameters in these new markets. They'll use new ad creative. They may even explore new paid channels. And what happens is they just judge that traffic overall and they say, okay, well, Facebook ad traffic for us generally performs really well. Let's just go there and see what happens. But what we need to be making sure of on the website side is that we're actually watching session recordings and studying heat maps to see what those people are truly doing on the website. Now, when we're looking at session recordings and heat maps, what we really want to look for with usability is stuff like in this list. Now, we're talking about site search usage. The role of the shipping page is a really interesting one. So a lot of times people will put shipping information on a separate page, and the expectations of shipping and the expectations of how you communicate shipping can be wildly different from different parts of the country. People may expect it to be, or different parts of the world. People may expect it to be on the product page. People may prefer that it's in the checkout page. Whatever it is, we can study with these tools how people are engaging with site search, shipping pages. If we have a similar products block, if we have localized or personalized elements, those can really, really change how people are behaving on the website. And we need to be looking at this qualitative data to say, yes, they're engaging with this in the way that we want them to, we expect them to, or, wow, people are not engaging with this. We thought that they were going to scroll down here and click through this, and this is a personalized, localized thing, or there's a currency switchover button. They're not doing it. Whatever these elements might be, we can verify our, I think this is happening, so that we can say, here's what's actually happening. Now, once we start to judge usability and get that sorted, if we want to get more specific, I really recommend and love using quick little feedback on-site surveys. And so this screenshot we're showing, asking people about their preferred checkout method. You may already have your payment methods dialed in, but this could be things about your products that you're offering. It could be, what do you care about with our product? Now, one good example that I have for this is that a Lucky Orange customer sells fishing baits, or fishing lures, excuse me. And they were noticing that they were having a lot of people on their website that spent a lot of time searching, a lot of time navigating, and just weren't buying. And so they released a quick little survey that said, what kind of fishing lures are you looking for? In so many words. And the results that came back said, we're looking for vintage fishing lures. It's not something that ever crossed this business's mind, but this traffic came in and said, that's what we want. They started stocking vintage fishing lures, and it becomes a top seller very quickly. And so if we're unsure of what we're seeing in the data from session recordings, heat maps, and other areas, we can go to a quick on-site website survey to get some answers. Now, this isn't a customer interview. This isn't the right place and time to ask 10 questions of people to do customer interviews. That's a wholly separate strategy and something that we definitely recommend. But this can be a really powerful way to say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Are we doing this right? Are we describing this thing in the right way? Now, when we take these findings, what do we do with them? Well, we still have that quantitative reporting, and the quantitative reporting is still extremely valuable. So we need to figure out that relationship between our quantitative data and the qualitative research that we're doing. Again, if we see a trend, let's go into the session recordings and heat maps and say, what might be causing that trend? Why is something underperforming? Or a couple more specific examples, if we have an ad campaign that we're running in a specific part of the world, the click-through rate is high, but the conversion rate on the site is low. What's happening? Is there a disconnect in the messaging? Are we saying something in the ad campaign that just doesn't make sense to people once they land on the website and it's not connecting? Or add to cart is high, but checkout rate is low. What's happening? We can pair these two sides and pair these two parts of the data and come out with a much better result. And that result, for the second part of what you can do with your findings, you can empower other parts of the business. And so a lot of times what I'll find is that website teams will operate in kind of a siloed way. They will do a lot of website research. They'll have trends that come in from quantitative data and a lot of good research partnership, a data partnership. But what I encourage you to do is if you go into website analytics and behavioral analytics and you start to gather this data, make sure you use it in other parts of the business. It can be really helpful to have that open communication with the customer support team. You can say, hey guys, we've just opened up a new market. We're going after this country. Here's what we're seeing them engage with on the website. Or here's how they're responding to this quick survey. You might want to prepare for some questions about this. Similarly, we can go to whoever's creating the ad creative and say, look, people are really, really engaging with this content on the product page from this country. Let's come up with a country-specific ad creative approach. And a couple other items here: email marketing, product development, pricing, bundling. A lot of times we'll see bundling opportunities, similar product sort of opportunities that can appear for certain parts of the world that just don't resonate with everybody else. So that's a super quick intro into, hey, here's what behavioral analytics are. Here's what a couple tools are. There is much, much more to be played out, discussed, and talked about when it comes to this topic. But what my hope is that you can say, we've got quantitative reporting. Let's see what's on the qualitative side. And it sounds like a lot of work, but really this kind of mirrors the idea of compound interest being the eighth wonder of the world. As soon as you start investing in website analytics, behavioral analytics, and CRO tools and spending a little bit of time with it, it can really, really have a profound impact on your business outcomes over time. So thanks for listening. Let's connect on LinkedIn, talk more about it. My DMs are open if anybody wants to talk more about behavioral analytics.
Thank you so much, Sean. That was great. Very insightful. If anyone has any questions for Sean, please feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can head to the Lucky Orange booth as well. And we do have a prize winner, so wanted to congratulate John S., who will be taking home a pair of Pit Vipers
Nice.
sunglasses. So ShipBob will be in touch with you, John, to claim your prize. Thanks so much, Sean.
All right. Thank you.